boss, baby. It's a pretty simple, quick fix. Figured I'd bring you along for the ride, baby. This is where it comes in here. Like that, baby. Like a boss. Push the whole machine over. This is going just like we had planned so far. Everything's working perfect. And then look who has to come get his hands in there. To win it, baby. You got the idea. Welcome back, everybody. It's nice and quiet. You can hear Scotty. He's skidding back there somewhere, but we got the grapple put back on it, and when we did it upright. We did it the way I've been wanting to do it. We discussed that before. That went from a 5/8 to a 3/4. So we changed that out so that now everything's 3/4 to 3/4. Easy to change if something happens. Finally done right. It's been an annoyance to me ever since I ran this, and then we did put the wrap in there. I mean, we got it looking like $1 million. We got logs stacked high. Not that high, but yeah. That's what we did today. So this got rebuilt in here. Is where we had the problem. The seals and the bearings went out of that, I guess. So I have been, ever since running that little that grapple there on this, I've been researching, and I don't know what to do, but I've been thinking. And here's something to think about, which is what I've been thinking about. So like, that's from the saw, and there's more on here. The Barco's got them everywhere, but that's a little different scenario because it doesn't have the guard. But right there's another one. That's from the saw. So I've been looking at the other grapples, and the reason why why we get nicked up here and here, Josh called me and he did it on purpose. So one more phone call from him, and we'll deal with him tomorrow. But they're stuck, so he's grabbing the skidder there. But why we get problems on here and here is back here. So that's like 4 foot wide when it's closed. And in between the saw, that's like 5 foot. Maybe not even that. Yeah, it's probably less than 5 foot from that point to that point. So your grapple's always in there. So one thing I liked about that is it's only like, that's less than 2 foot wide. It's like 1.5 feet there. And when I was moving it around the saw, it was delightful because I could get in there and pick all the garbage out of there. So it didn't go near the saw at all, which made it way easier and way nicer, because it's always a constant fear is to get that in the saw, especially on the Barco, because that doesn't have that guard. So the more I thought about looking at like the other style grapples, they're similar to that, but they're longer. They're probably like 1 foot longer down here, and them would be, I think it would be incredible. But I don't know if I can, what to do about it. You know what I mean? Can we twist the boss's arm? I don't know. But I really like that style better than this because, like I said, that's like 4 foot wide from that point to that point. And that's why that's all chewed up and this is dinged up and that's dinged up, is because it's just constantly getting in the saw. And I don't like, even when you got a bunch of wood in there, it's still just in the way. You know what I mean? But I'm thinking about it. The ultimate would be cotton tops grapple. With the saw on it. That would be the ultimate, because then you could cut horns off or crotches to get it through the chipper. And I was talking to Brian. He said they did put a couple of them on some more bark chippers with the bar saw on them, just because it's easier to get stuff in and out of there. So, I don't know. Dreaming. But this is back on here. And we hooked it up the first time. And I said, well, if we got all the hoses right, just got those 4. And, you know, it's going to be great. And Josh needs to buy lotto tickets, which he doesn't buy lotto tickets, and I don't either. But I got up in the cab, and they were all wrong. The open closes backwards, and the swing was backwards. So that's been our luck for the week. So it didn't take but a minute to put them back, to swap them. So we swapped them. And then put the nice wrap. I'm just real happy that's all cleaned up and not dangling all over in splices, and it's done the right way. But it's back, and I'm happy because the other one was broke. And yeah, what happened today? Oh, I forgot to tell you the story. So what happened was I was running the slasher, and I had a junk CB in the cab, and I threw the CB on the floor of the cab. And I went to grab a log like this one here and swing this way to put it in the cradle, and the machine took off on me. And what had happened was that CB radio fell under my foot swing, and so what had happened was we got rudely interrupted again by work. When the CB fell underneath the foot swing, it had sprung it wide open. So now I'm swinging with all the power going this way, and I couldn't figure out why, and I'm trying to kick it down and it won't go down, and then I realized the CB was under there. So by this time it had already hit the tree, had smashed into the guard of that and come out of the grapple, and I didn't have as many logs stacked in there, so it kind of swung around, and I knew I had to get something done because I had the quick feeling of if this thing keeps going, it's going to eventually end up over here, which I didn't want. And at the same time that I ripped the CB out of the floor, the grapple smashed into the logs, and I broke those fittings off from the one side of the other grapple. So I screwed that up. So then I threw the CB out on the ground in a fit of rage. And the couple mechanics, when they come here, Jeremy, when he come here, he was actually working on that piece of junk. He says, "What's this CB doing down there?" I said, "It's a pile of junk. I don't want nothing to do with it." I said, "That caused this damage. Nothing to do with me." But yeah, it was my fault. But that was today's debacle. It was quite the day. So hopefully the end of the week goes better than the beginning of the week, because it's just been chaos. And then it rained all day today. So you know what? You gotta just keep rolling. But he called me and wants me to run that green skidder out front. So I'll do that. Now, that green skidder, U-joint broke on it. Broke the bolts off from the yoke. And so it was way back yonder. And they got it up here. They pulled the drive shaft out and the yoke off and got it up here. And then he called me and said, "Can you drive it up to the front so I don't have to drive this pickup back there tomorrow or whenever they get her fixed?" I said, "Can do." But I hate this. I can't tell you how many U-joints and drive shafts I've worked on these. And literally since day one of the first green machine showing up, you see there's no drive shaft in there. So you're running off the front. The first day we had one out in the woods. This one come unhinged, and then it takes out your blade hoses underneath there. That was the first day. It wasn't this green one, it was another green one. But that one's gone. Oh, must be a guard off it. But yeah. And if you've ever worked on the front drive shaft, when it takes out those blade hoses, you have to replace them. Lay it on the ground, you can't reach them, and oil's dripping on your face the whole time you're doing it, in your mouth and eyes and ears.